The October sun hung low over the scrubland of Arizona Territory, 1885, casting long shadows across Samuel Hayden's weathered face. At 63, his once robust frame had begun to bow under the weight of decades spent wresting a living from this unforgiving land. He adjusted his hat against the glare and surveyed the eastern boundary of his property, where scattered junipers gave way to foothills marking Apache territory. Samuel's mare snorted beneath him, ears twitching forward. "What is it, girl? Something out there?" 3 days earlier, word had spread through Copper Springs about a raid on the Henderson place 10 miles south. 2 ranch hands dead, livestock scattered. The territorial newspaper blamed Apache raiders, though Samuel had his doubts. The Apaches had largely been forced onto reservations years ago. The mare whinnied again, shifting nervously. Samuel saw a slight movement among the rocks near the dry creek bed. He dismounted cautiously, tethering the horse to a mesquite. "Hello?" he called, rifle ready but not raised. "Show yourself." A small sound, something between a gasp and a moan, drew his attention to a cluster of boulders. Samuel approached cautiously. Wedged between 2 rocks was a child, an Apache girl, no more than 12 or 13, her dark eyes wide with fear. Blood had soaked through her simple dress at the shoulder, her breathing shallow and irregular. Samuel lowered his rifle. "Good Lord, child, what happened to you?" The girl pressed herself against the rock, eyeing the weapon with terror. Samuel set the rifle down and raised his hands. "I ain't gonna hurt you," he said gently. "You're bleeding bad." "I'm Samuel," he said, tapping his chest. "Samuel Hayden, this is my land." He gestured around them. "You're hurt. I can help." The girl's eyes darted past him, scanning the horizon as if expecting others. "Nobody with me," he assured her. "Just old Samuel and his horse." He paused. "Are people looking for you, child?" Her expression darkened. She nodded once, wincing with the movement. Samuel sighed heavily. This was trouble he didn't need, but leaving this wounded child to the elements, or to whoever had shot her, sat like a stone in his gut. "My place is about an hour's ride from here," he said finally. "Got supplies there. Could patch you up." "Why, help?" Her voice was barely audible, rough from thirst. "Because you're a child," he said simply, "and you're hurt." She studied him a moment longer. "Men come for me, white men, and Endendai." At Samuel's confused expression, she clarified. "Apache, but not my people. Scouts for bluecoats." "What's your name, child?" "Nasha." "Well, Nasha, I can't leave you out here bleeding. You'll come back to my place, and we'll tend that wound." With visible effort, Nasha pushed herself up, using the rock for support. Samuel helped her mount his horse, careful to avoid her injured shoulder. "You got family looking for you?" Samuel asked as they began the journey back. Nasha's face hardened. "All gone. Soldiers came many moons ago." They traveled in silence, the modest silhouette of Samuel's ranch house eventually coming into view. A 2-room cabin with a lean-to stable, small corral, and few outbuildings. "That's home," he said. "Not fancy, but it's got 4 walls and a roof." "Safe?" Nasha asked. "Safe as anywhere in these parts," Samuel replied honestly. "It's just me. Had a wife, Elizabeth. She passed on. No children." At the cabin, Samuel's hound dog, Rusty, came bounding out, barking until Samuel whistled him quiet. Inside, Samuel cleaned and bandaged Nasha's wound, a bullet graze that had torn flesh but thankfully not lodged in her shoulder. "You're lucky," he said. "Bullet just grazed you. Still, it's a nasty wound." Nasha remained stoically silent through the painful cleaning, making no sound even when Samuel applied whiskey to disinfect the wound. They shared a simple meal of reheated stew, eating in silence until a sharp rap came at the door. Nasha froze, eyes wide with alarm. "Stay quiet," Samuel whispered, grabbing his shotgun. It was Clayton Wilson, owner of the neighboring ranch. "Evening, Samuel? Expecting trouble?" "Just being careful." "What brings you by, Clayton?" "Riders came through earlier today, Army scouts, they said. Looking for an Apache girl, young one. Said she's the last of some clan that's been causing trouble. They're checking all the ranches in the area." Samuel kept his expression neutral. "Appreciate the warning. Haven't seen any Apaches around lately." "Well, if you do, best report it. These fellows didn't look like the patient type." Clayton paused. "Word is they're offering a reward." "I don't need their money," Samuel said firmly. "They're staying at Wilkins' place tonight but will likely make the rounds tomorrow." After Clayton left, Nasha turned to Samuel. They come tomorrow? Samuel nodded grimly. I go tonight, before they come. And go where with that shoulder? You wouldn't make it 5 miles. Better die. Running free, she said with simple dignity. Than captured. The words struck Samuel with unexpected force. How many times had he thought the same during his darkest days after Elizabeth's death? You don't have to run, he heard himself saying. Not yet. Why help? Why risk? I've lived long enough to know that a man is measured by the choices he makes when there's something to lose, he said finally. I know you're a child and you're hurt, and turning you over to men who'd hunt you like an animal wouldn't sit right with me. They will search house. I've got a cellar under the floorboards in my room, small but you'd fit. If they come, you hide there. Nasha considered this, weighing her options with a gravity no child should possess. Finally she spoke. If you protect me, I give you something. Samuel shook his head. I don't want anything from you, child. You listen, she insisted. My clan, before soldiers came, we had land, good land, with water, in mountains. She gestured eastward. Sacred to us, many generations. I am last. When I die, who remembers sacred places? I don't follow your meaning. If you protect me, Nasha said, her young voice suddenly ancient with purpose, my clan's land will become yours. The declaration hung between them. Land with water would change everything for his struggling ranch. That land isn't yours to give, he said carefully. The government, not government land, Nasha cut in fiercely. Apache land, my clan's land, hidden valley. No white man knows. I show you. If you help me live. Before Samuel could respond, Rusty began to bark outside, a warning. Someone was approaching. Quick, Samuel hissed, leading Nasha to his bedroom. He pulled back the rug, revealing a trap door in the floorboards, and helped her into the small dark cellar below. I won't betray you, he promised. As another knock came at the door, harder, more commanding, Samuel Hayden squared his shoulders and went to face whatever waited on the other side, knowing his choice would change the course of his remaining years. Samuel opened the door to find 3 men standing on his porch, 2 white men flanking a shorter Apache man in mixed traditional and military clothing. The Apache's eyes scanned the cabin interior over Samuel's shoulder. Evening, gentlemen, Samuel said, blocking the doorway. Bit late for social calls. The taller white man stepped forward. He wore a dusty cavalry uniform with lieutenant's bars that looked suspiciously worn. Lieutenant James Harker, U.S. Army, he announced curtly. This here is Sergeant Mills, and our tracker, Chatto. The Apache acknowledged with only a slight nod. Samuel Hayden, what brings the Army to my door at this hour? We're tracking a fugitive, Apache girl, about 12 years old. Escaped from San Carlos Reservation after stealing government property. Harker pulled out a folded paper. Got official orders to apprehend her. Samuel glanced at the paper without taking it. Haven't seen any Apache children, just me and my dog here. Mills, stocky with a pockmarked face, spat tobacco onto the porch. Mind if we look around? Actually, I do mind, Samuel said, hand tightening on his shotgun. It's late, and I don't take kindly to strangers poking through my belongings. This isn't a social call, Mr. Hayden. We have authority to search any property in pursuit of escaped Indians. You have a warrant, Samuel challenged. Don't need one, Mills growled. Military jurisdiction. Something wasn't right about these men. Their uniforms weren't quite regulation, and real officers would know they needed proper documentation. The silent tracker suddenly spoke. Someone has been here. His voice was soft, but authoritative. Fresh blood. I smell it. Samuel didn't flinch. Shot a coyote this morning, was after my chickens. Chatto's dark eyes met Samuel's. Not coyote blood. Harker's hand moved to his holstered pistol. Mr. Hayden, the girl we're tracking is the last of the Ghost Canyon Apache. She has information we need. What information could a child possibly have? That's military business, Harker snapped. Now are you going to cooperate? Or do we need to come back tomorrow with more men? You do what you feel you must, Samuel said finally. But tonight, I'm asking you to respect my property. Come back tomorrow with proper papers. First light, Harker warned. We'll be back. Don't make this harder than it needs to be, old man. Samuel watched them ride off before closing and barring the door. He hurried to free Nasha from the cellar. Chatto, she said, the name like a curse. He is Ndendai, enemy of my clan for generations. Those men aren't real army, Samuel said. What do they really want with you? My clan guarded secret, she said after a moment. Place where earth gives yellow metal. Gold? There's gold on your clan's land? Nasha nodded solemnly. Small stream in hidden valley. My father showed me when I was small. Said never tell outsiders. Her eyes darkened. But someone told, before soldiers came. So they want you to lead them to the gold. Yes. Chato has hunted me since Moon of First Berries, she said. His people help white men for protection, but I will not show them sacred place. I die first. They'll be back at dawn. We need to leave tonight. Pack what we can and head into the mountains. Nasha looked surprised. You come with me. Leave your home? Samuel glanced around the cabin, at Elizabeth's empty rocking chair, at their wedding photograph. Ain't much of a home anymore. Just a place where I've been waiting to die since Elizabeth passed. They gathered supplies quickly. Food, ammunition, medical supplies. Before leaving, Samuel placed a candle near dry kindling beside the fireplace. What you do? Nasha asked. Making it harder for them to follow. Fire will spread fast. He struck a match. Let's go. They rode through the night, Samuel's mare carrying them both, with Rusty following. They took a game trail toward the mountains, careful to minimize their tracks. Behind them, flames began consuming Samuel's cabin of 20 years. How far to Line Shack? Nasha asked after nearly 2 hours. Another hour, maybe less. How's your shoulder? I am fine, she said stoically, though her voice betrayed her pain. As they climbed higher, the junipers gave way to pines, the air growing sharper with altitude. You had no children with your woman? Nasha asked unexpectedly. No, we tried for many years. Elizabeth, it pained her greatly. In my clan, children are greatest wealth. Man with no children is like stream with no water. Samuel absorbed this with a pang of grief. Your people have the right of it there. My mother died when I was born. My father raised me to be both woman and warrior. Her voice softened. Now I carry all that remains of my clan. Stories, songs, sacred places. When I die, they die also. You won't die, he said fiercely. Not while I draw breath. They reached a small wooden structure nestled against the mountainside, the line shack Samuel had built years ago as a shelter while working the high country. After settling Nasha inside on blankets, Samuel built a small fire. He prepared a simple meal, then checked her wound. The bandage had spotted with blood but hadn't worsened significantly. Need to change this dressing, he said, working gently. Nasha watched his face. You were father, even with no children. What makes you say that? Your hands. Gentle like father's hands, and eyes sad but kind. You would have been good father. The assessment left Samuel momentarily speechless. He finished rebandaging in silence. Get some rest, he said finally, his voice rough. In my clan, when man saves life of another, they become as family, bound by something stronger than blood. She fell asleep quickly, exhaustion overcoming her remarkable endurance. Samuel sat by the fire, watching over this child who had upended his existence in a single day. From the valley came a faint orange glow, his cabin burning. Yet instead of regret, Samuel felt an odd liberation. Rusty raised his head suddenly, ears pricked. A moment later, Samuel heard it too. Horses approaching. He doused the fire and moved to the window. 3 riders were making their way up their trail, Chato leading. Samuel realized with sickening clarity the gold nugget Nasha had handled with blood-stained fingers had left a scent trail. Wake up, he whispered urgently. They've found us. The girl came awake instantly. How close? Half mile, maybe less. We need to move. They gathered their belongings hastily. The line shack had only one door, and the windows were too small for escape. Is there other way down mountain? Nasha asked. A deer trail down the east face. Treacherous in daylight, near impossible at night, but it's our only chance. Then we go, better die falling than captured. They left Rusty with a command to stay and slipped out the back. The deer trail was barely wide enough for the mare's hooves. Samuel led on foot, steadying Nasha, who insisted on walking despite her injury. Above, they heard the men reach the shack, followed by angry shouts. We must separate, Nasha said suddenly. I go east, into deeper mountains. You take horse south toward town. Not a chance, I didn't come this far to abandon you. Not abandon, she insisted. Smart strategy. They follow blood scent on horse. You lead them away while I find safe place. Meet again when moon is full. 7 days. The logic was sound. On the narrow trail, they moved too slowly together. Where would we meet? Crow's Peak, where 3 large stones stand together, looking west. And if one of us doesn't make it? Then the other lives free, carrying both our spirits. 7 days, Samuel agreed reluctantly. Take this. He handed her his hunting knife and half their provisions. As they prepared to part, Nasha took his weathered hand in her small one. May your path be clear, Samuel Hayden. And yours, Nasha, daughter of Chief Nantan Lupan. She vanished into the darkness with uncanny silence. Samuel mounted the mare and turned south, deliberately making noise to draw attention. Behind him, shouts confirmed their pursuers had detected his movement. Good. Let them follow him, a grizzled old rancher with nothing left to lose, while Nasha escaped deeper into the mountains. As he urged the mare forward, Samuel felt something he hadn't experienced in years, the fierce joy of purposeful action, of standing against injustice with every ounce of his remaining strength. For the first time since burying Elizabeth, Samuel Hayden had found something worth fighting for. Dawn broke over the eastern mountains as Samuel rode hard, his mare heaving with exertion. Behind him, distant shouts confirmed his pursuers remained in pursuit. His plan was to lead them away from Nasha, then lose them in the canyons below. The canyon mouth appeared ahead, but dust rose in the distance, riders approaching from the south. He was being flanked. A rifle shot cracked through the air. "Hayden!" Harker's voice carried. "There's nowhere to run!" Another shot followed, this one finding its mark. The mare screamed and lurched sideways, her front leg buckling. Samuel rolled clear as she collapsed, then crawled toward a nearby outcropping, dragging his rifle with him. The mare lay thrashing weakly. Samuel raised his rifle. "I'm sorry, girl," he whispered. The shot cracked, and the mare went still. Samuel ducked as answering fire peppered his position. He was pinned down, outnumbered, with limited ammunition. Yet he felt grim satisfaction. Every minute these men spent with him was another minute Nasha gained. "You're making this harder than it needs to be," Harker called out. "Go to hell," Samuel shouted back, his shot sending a rider scrambling for cover. The standoff continued as the sun climbed higher. A new voice called out, "Mr. Hayden? I'm Marshal Thomas Reed from Copper Springs. Let's talk before anyone else gets hurt." "What's a marshal doing riding with fake army men?" Samuel called back. "Fake? Lieutenant Harker is operating under military authority. He's no more lieutenant than I am president. They're after Apache Gold Marshal, not justice." A shadow fell across Samuel. He whirled to find Chatto standing above him, rifle aimed at his chest. "Drop gun," Chatto said quietly. Samuel lowered his revolver slowly. "You're hunting one of your own kind, a child. Does that sit well with your spirits? She is not my kind. Different clan, ancient enemies. She's the last of her people. You helped these men, and you're helping destroy an entire way of life. My people made peace with white man to survive. Her clan chose war." He gestured with his rifle. "Stand up." As Samuel rose, a distant flash caught his eye, sunlight reflecting off metal on the ridge above. Chatto marched him into the open where Harker, Mills, and the others waited with the marshal. "Where's the girl?" Harker demanded. "What girl would that be?" Samuel replied. Mills struck him across the face. Samuel staggered, but remained standing, tasting blood. Marshal Reed approached. "Mr. Hayden, harboring a fugitive is serious. If you cooperate now, I can speak for leniency." "What exactly is she fugitive from? Being the last survivor of her people? Knowing the location of land that greedy men want to steal?" "Enough talk," Mills cut in. "Tie him up." A gunshot suddenly echoed from the ridge. One of Harker's men cried out, clutching his leg as he fell. Chaos erupted. Men scattered as more shots rang out from multiple directions. Samuel drove his shoulder into Chatto, sending them both sprawling. After a brief struggle, Samuel landed a solid blow to the tracker's jaw. Rolling clear, Samuel reclaimed his revolver and fired twice at the nearest rider, then ran for cover. "Saddle up! Fall back to the canyon!" Harker ordered as his men retreated in disarray. When they'd gone, Samuel called out, "Whoever you are, I'm obliged for the assistance." 3 riders descended from the ridge. The lead rider was an Apache man in his 40s. "Samuel Hayden?" he asked. "That's me." "And you are?" "I am called Many Horses. This is Fox Runner and Young Owl. The child Nasha sent us to find you." Relief washed over Samuel. "Nasha? She's alive. She's safe." Many Horses nodded. "She reached our camp before dawn, told us of your sacrifice. We came to help." Will you take me to her? Many horses studied him. She says you are Tisna, blood brother, that you burned your home to protect her. I'd do it again, Samuel said simply. Then yes, old one, we take you to her. The journey was a lesson in wilderness craft. By midday, even Samuel was thoroughly disoriented. Your people know this land well, he observed during a brief rest. This was all Apache land before the white man came. Many horses replied. Every rock, every spring, every trail has a name and a story. He looked at Samuel with interest. Nasha told us of her promise to you, the hidden valley. That wasn't why I helped her, Samuel said firmly. I helped her because it was right. Fox Runner returned from scouting, speaking rapidly to many horses, whose expression darkened. What is it? Samuel asked. Riders following, real soldiers this time, with Apache scouts. Many horses mounted swiftly. We must hurry. They rode hard for another hour, until they entered a hidden valley with a small encampment of wickiups arranged in a semicircle. The child rests in the healing lodge, many horses said, pointing to a structure slightly separated from the others. Her wound had begun to fester. An elderly woman emerged as they approached. You bring the white man. Good, the child asks for him. How is she? Samuel asked anxiously. Fever comes and goes. I have drawn poison from the wound. Now we wait. Inside, Nasha lay on a pallet, her face flushed with fever. Samuel Hayden, she whispered as he knelt beside her. You live. As do you, little warrior, he replied gently. Samuel took her hand, alarmed at the heat radiating from her skin. Rest now. We can talk when you're stronger. Nasha's fingers tightened on his. You must listen. Harker and others, they will not stop. When I was at San Carlos, I heard them talking. The gold is only part. The valley has more. More what? Silver, copper, much copper. Government men came to reservation, showed maps, said mountains hold great wealth. Need to move Apaches again, further away. They already took your land once. Now they want more? Nasha nodded weakly. Always more. Never enough. Her eyes drifted closed, exhaustion claiming her. Samuel sat beside her until her breathing deepened into sleep, his mind turning over her revelations. The medicine woman returned. She needs rest, and so do you, old one. Samuel allowed himself to be led to another wickiup. As he sank onto the simple bed, his last thought was of Nasha's small hand in his, and the fierce protective instinct that had awakened within him. For the first time in 5 years, Samuel slept without dreams of Elizabeth. Instead, he dreamed of mountains and hidden valleys, of clear streams running over golden stones, and of a young voice speaking words of belonging. Miles away, Lieutenant James Harker stood before Captain Wallace of the U.S. Cavalry. The Apache girl is the key, sir, he insisted. She knows the location of lands that may contain rich copper deposits. And this civilian, Hayden, he's harboring the girl? Yes, sir. Dangerous sort, probably hoping to use the girl to find gold for himself. Captain Wallace frowned. I don't like the sound of this, Lieutenant. I'll send a proper detachment to investigate. You're confined to the fort until this matter is resolved. As Harker departed, Wallace turned to his senior Apache scout. Broken Knife, what do you make of this? You know the Ghost Canyon people? The grizzled scout nodded. Fierce warriors once, now gone except for the girl. Their land is high country. Many sacred places. Not good place for white men to go, old spirits there still angry. If there's copper up there, the territorial government will want it. Progress doesn't wait for ghosts. Broken Knife's eyes held ancient wisdom. Some ghosts don't wait for progress either, Captain. They ride ahead to warn the living. In a hidden valley, Samuel Hayden slept, unaware that his simple act of mercy was about to reshape the destiny of not only Nasha's people, but the entire territory. A week passed in the hidden Apache camp. Samuel watched as Nasha gradually recovered from her fever, the medicine woman's treatments proving effective. By the 7th day, she was sitting up and speaking clearly. The soldiers will come, Nasha said one evening. Many horses' scouts have seen them searching. Samuel nodded. Captain Wallace seems determined. Each patrol pushes deeper into Apache territory. They will not find this place easily, she assured him. These mountains hide many secrets. Samuel Hayden, she continued, her tone serious, when I am strong enough, I will show you the hidden valley, as I promised. Before Samuel could respond, many horses appeared at the entrance. White man, come. His expression was grave. Outside, Samuel learned that soldiers had captured Chateau, who was now leading them toward Ghost Canyon, close to the Sacred Valley. 12 soldiers, and Harker, and the marshal, many horses explained. We must move the camp tonight. And Nasha, she travels with us, unless you wish to take her elsewhere. Her place is with her people, Samuel said firmly. If you'll have me, I'll travel with you until she's fully recovered. When Samuel returned to share the news, Nasha was already dressing herself. I heard, she said, Apache ears here far. You're not strong enough yet, Samuel protested. I am daughter of Chief Nantan Lupan, she replied with dignity. I will not be carried like a baby. The band traveled through the night to a new valley, higher and more remote. We are close now, Nasha said softly, her eyes on the eastern ridge. The Sacred Valley lies just beyond those peaks. Later that day, a scout returned with news. Captain Wallace's soldiers had split into 3 groups, systematically searching the canyons. One group, led by Harker, was headed directly toward them. They follow our trail, many horses said grimly. Chateau's work. That night, as the Apache leaders debated their options, Nasha whispered to Samuel, I think it is time to show you what I promised. Many horses approached them. We split into 3 groups. Nasha goes with the mothers and children north toward the high country. No, Nasha insisted. I go to Ghost Canyon, I must. She glanced at Samuel. And I have promised to show him. Finally, many horses nodded. The white man has earned the right to see. But I send Fox Runner with you. For protection. As they prepared to depart before dawn, Samuel asked, Why is this so important to you? Because some promises matter more than life, she replied simply. The journey took them through rugged terrain until they reached a seemingly impassable cliff face. The way is hidden, Nasha explained, leading Samuel to a narrow crevice. Inside, a steep path opened onto a site that took Samuel's breath away, a verdant valley cradled between towering cliffs, with a clear stream meandering through its center. At the far end stood the ruins of an Apache encampment. My clan's sacred land, Nasha said softly, since time before memory. She led him to the stream, where she knelt and began sifting through the gravel. Here, she said, holding up several small gold nuggets. She moved upstream to rocks streaked with blue-green. Copper, much copper. Beneath the mountains, my father said there is more than stars in the sky. Samuel understood at last what Nasha had offered him, wealth beyond imagining, and the inevitable destruction of everything sacred. I cannot take this from your people, he said. My people are gone, she replied. Only I remain. No, your people live in this place, in the stories you carry, in the future you will build. Their moment was shattered by a rifle shot. 5 riders emerged from the cottonwoods, Harker, Mills, Marshal Reed, and 2 soldiers. Well, well, Harker called. The old man and the Apache brat, and this must be the famous Ghost Canyon. He surveyed the valley with greedy eyes. Samuel pushed Nasha behind him. This is Apache land. You have no jurisdiction here. All undeeded land falls under federal oversight, Marshal Reed countered, and I don't see any Apache land deeds. The girl is under my protection, Samuel stated flatly. Harker dismounted, hand on his pistol. She's the only living member of the Ghost Canyon clan. According to territorial law, she's the only one who could possibly make any claim to this land. Which is why, Reed added, we'll be taking her back to Copper Springs, for her own protection. Over my dead body, Samuel growled, reaching for his revolver. Harker drew faster, but an arrow suddenly quivered in a tree trunk inches from his head. Dozens of Apache warriors had materialized on the ridge above, bows drawn and rifles aimed. I suggest you reconsider, came a new voice. Captain Wallace rode into view with broken knife and several soldiers. Lower your weapon, Mr. Harker, since you've been relieved of duty. Wallace approached Samuel and Nasha. I believe we have much to discuss about jurisdiction, false military credentials, and the attempted theft of both federal land and an Apache ward. This isn't federal land, Samuel stated. It belongs to Nasha's people. Wallace glanced at the girl. Perhaps that will be for courts to decide. His expression softened. But I can assure you that this child will not be returning to San Carlos against her will. Not while there are alternatives. Nasha's hand slipped into Samuel's. I stay with Samuel Hayden, she said clearly. He is my family now. In the days that followed, promises would be kept. Nasha would share her clan's land, not as a gift of ownership, but as a sacred trust. Samuel would build a small ranch on the valley's edge, becoming both guardian and student of its ancient legacy. And together, they would forge a future neither could have imagined alone, bound by something stronger than blood, the choice to protect what matters most, whatever the cost.